Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're coming to you with another bonus Friday episode.
Bonus.
See, we took it away.
So now it's special.
And then we gave it back, and now it's a bonus episode.
Yeah, now
exactly.
Now it's special. It's unexpected.
It's kind of like where cereal packs used to be like 24 ounce, and now they're like 18 ounces. So the family size is now the old 4 ounce size.
Yeah.
But then you charge the same amount and for the 18 ounce, and then more for the now what the old version used to be.
Yeah.
So that's what you're getting right now.
Yes.
Correct. Thanks for that breakdown, Jeff.
Yes. Package shrinkage.
Great. if this was a Wednesday episode, I think I know what the title would be already.
Unfortunately, this is a best of 2019.
Yep.
Special Friday episode. Yeah. So, so we do these every year. We take a little bit of time and we discuss some of the highlights of 2019. Not necessarily all board games, but mostly board games.
And some funtivities.
And some fun
Funtivities.
Sure.
That's like fun activities.
Sure.
That was a good portmanteau. I liked it.
I don't know if Ant ever got the over-under on the total number of honorable mentions in this episode, but it will probably be
significant.
Yes.
I would say about 1 to 1.
You might not be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead here and see, how do I want to do this? Because, we're a board game podcast, so I want to start with board games, but then I want to work video games in somewhere in the middle and then come back. But I don't really, I guess we could do our categories to start. Then we could do the top video games and then the top regular games. And then you could close us out with your special section.
Well, sure. Do we want to just sort of start as like an overall thing, or are we going to do that after the awards?
Wait, what?
Like just what we thought of 2019 in
general. Sure.
Noticeable things, board games and non-board game related that happened to us, etc.
Yeah,
etc.
That seems reasonable. Let's talk a little about 2019 as a board gaming year for us stuff. Thing.
That was
that
wasn't not good.
There was a lot of sibilance on that one.
Perfect.
So I guess for me, the big story of 2019 was new job that has me working 12-hour shifts on Saturdays and Sundays, and the drastic impact that has made on my ability to play board games with people, especially the longer games that I kind of like 18xx.
That you kind of prefer now?
That I kind of prefer now. It's been a lot harder to do that. I've kind of shifted to where I start bringing heavy games to game night more often now. At least like medium weight to heavy. Like I'll bring Agricola more often now, or I brought Le Havre. I had Vanuatu on Wednesday, but I didn't get to play that. Stuff like that. So
whose fault is that? You could have just been like, all right, exchange student from Haiti.
Yeah, fuck you, guy.
Yeah. I didn't say that. I just said trying, because it's technically, there aren't any words on it, right?
For Vanuatu?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess technically. Yeah, I'm sure he had all of the base level knowledge of board gaming in America to understand how to play that game and play it well. I'm sure that wouldn't have been awful for him at all.
No, it would have been fine.
Anyway, we'll talk about that on Wednesday. But yeah, I guess that's the main thing for me is I've played a lot less games in 2019, I think, on the whole. I'm down to pretty much playing mostly on Wednesdays and then the Friday streams that we do now.
Right.
Occasionally, like you and I will do some Pandemic Legacy, or we did 3 or 4 sessions of Betrayal Legacy outside of there.
Yes.
Megan and I play 2-player games at the condo occasionally, but overall my gaming is way, way, way down since starting the new job. So that's the story for board gaming for me. It was also coming out hot on the heels of late 2018 when I hit my super cynical, bitter about everything phase, which, go figure, that corresponded with me being unemployed and having no money and
weird,
just generally hating myself.
Yeah.
So I'm better now ish. What about you guys? What was 2019 for you, board gaming wise?
Jeff, how was your 2019?
I played a lot of Blood Bowl still.
That's
the constant. That's a Lost reference for everyone at home.
But not for us.
Not for us.
Okay.
No. None of you understand Lost like I understand Lost.
We don't get references. You're right. I've never watched a full episode of Lost.
It's one of the best episodes of Lost.
It is a very good episode of Lost.
I think 2019 solidified my I could never play Arkham Horror LCG because there's too much now. So I look forward to playing other people's sets sooner or later. My weeks have always been pretty packed with activities. So I do the Wednesday stuff and then the Friday stuff, and then we do all day Sunday Kingdom Death. So we've played the crap out of that for the whole year.
Very true.
Yeah. And then Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is going to be ending soon. That only took 2+ years to get through. The beginning of a new LCG obsession, which did technically start in 2019.
It did? Yes, it did.
Technically.
Yes. Not having to review as many games this year.
Yeah, that was a big change about halfway through the year.
Yep.
Reviews were like, that's not as much a thing anymore.
Because of this.
Because of all
the
this.
streaming. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I just kept on keeping on with the board game wonders. Still need to, get those campaigns done. But we're getting close to a couple being done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Just
is
in
nice. time
time for more campaigns to start.
Those campaign games, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad your Tainted Grail didn't come in.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be April.
Yeah. But it feels like I didn't play a ton of games in 2019 that were 2019 releases.
Oh, I definitely didn't. We'll get to that.
Yeah. And
No, definitely making this list, there was a lot of stuff that I was like, play that, didn't play that, did not play. Ugh,
and a lot of them were big, massive, those huge Kickstarters that were from a year and a half ago, like Batman, Gotham City Crime Chronicles, Cthulhu Death May Die, Tainted Grail,
On Mars and Escape Plan, and
which released pretty late. Like Nemesis is out there now.
Yep.
I want to get to those sooner or later.
So we'll have to completely revisit this entire episode in 6 to 8 months.
I mean, we are looking back at our 2019, not 2019 in total.
Yes.
Yes. It just felt like I missed out on a lot of 2019 games. But hopefully I'll get some 2020 games in because the board game industry is not slowing down at all.
Not one bit.
If anything, is pumping on that gas.
Yeah, I mean, there's some signs of it slowing down. We covered a couple news items where some companies we're gonna back off how much we do.
Yeah.
But that's individual companies. And then it's for every one company that's we're going to do a little bit less, there's 10 new companies. They're hey, we're new and here's a new game.
Yeah. Well, and it's pretty much, it's, we're going to do a couple less. And some people are hey, there's room for us to put games right there. Let's put games right there. So, it's, and anytime we were seeing a trend sort of, not dying, but just sort of like roll and writes were super huge. And,
they're starting to taper maybe
a little bit. But something else is going to come out soon. So,
yeah, flipping fills. Thanks,
or
cartographers.
The cut and whatever for that scissor game where you're literally cutting up pieces of paper and putting them on things.
Oh.
So I don't think that's gonna.
No, I hope not. There's a limit to how much I want to play with scissors as an adult.
And it's moderate.
We saw some real overrated games hit real high in the world of BGG.
Yeah. We saw some interesting things with that, we saw Jamie knock it out of the park with Wingspan that was crazy popular and everybody loved it for the most part. And then
Besides
followed
the
it
fulfillment issues that and complaints.
Yeah, but even despite that, despite it being kind of hard to find at times and having all this hype behind it, it ended up being really popular and people loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Tapestry kind of went the other way. And it was hard to find, and people were oh, the only reason anybody says anything good about it is because it's hard to find. So screw it.
Well, I know that people are really looking forward to was it Elizabeth Hargrave?
Yes.
Hargrave, the person that actually designed Wingspan. Her new one is something about butterflies, migrating.
Yeah, that just got announced last week.
Yeah, and I know people are so. There are definitely a lot of people looking forward to her next stuff. So Jamie helping her with a springboard in that regard is really good. Whereas this one is, like you said, Tapestry is a Jamie, he's the one that designed that one.
Yeah.
And I feel his tend to get a little bit more.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Scythe. There are people that really like it, and then there are people that really, really don't like it.
Yeah.
But I don't see the people that really like Tapestry. I see people that like it.
Yeah.
But not
the people who like it are like, yeah, it's good, but it's got problems.
Yeah.
Whereas like there are people who are like, fucking Wingspan is the greatest thing that ever
Yeah,
existed.
which is, everybody has their opinions.
Currently number 26
Yeah.
all time already
No.
on BGG.
Just more evidence for me that the BGG rankings are meaningless at this point.
They are beginning to be more and more less meaningful.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are increasingly less meaningful.
Sooner or later, you just have to go by like number of voters.
Well, so the geek rating is supposed to take that into account.
Yeah.
But that's just sort of culture now, especially with like, all the binge stuff on TV. So it's like, oh my God, this is great.
It's like the Witcher of BGG.
Exactly. And so, it's just like you said, that's just sort of how it's going to be now.
I look forward to Gloomhaven 2 Electric Boogaloo being the new number 1 game on BGG.
Well, hey, Pandemic 2 didn't overtake Pandemic 1, so
but it was also
not as good.
Not as good.
No, sadly not.
It was a very different game.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Where I think Gloomhaven 2 is just going to be like, here's more Gloomhaven.
And apparently, May from the chat here is saying that apparently in November 2019, Wingspan was the number 1 most played game, with Tapestry number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
getting a lot of plays.
It's getting a lot of plays.
Although that's also, that's BGG users who report plays,
Yes.
which is a subset of a subset of a subset.
Well, obviously,
So,
yes. But also in that subset, Wingspan is number 1 played. So.
Yes.
People love that Wingspan.
And out of all of the people that I know that do that,
None of them like Wingspan.
None of them really like Wingspan. So
it is a little confusing.
There's just a lot of people that want to play it. So
I guess.
Yeah.
So Wingspan's on all of our lists, right?
Obviously, yeah.
Yep.
I'm
obviously.
pretty sure we all have the same thing for Wingspan, maybe. If I was a betting man. Cool. Anything else? We kind of covered board gaming in 2019. Anything else 2019 related anybody wants to share or chit chat about? Or
I also got a job.
Yeah.
Finally.
It
was in the middle of 2019, all right, is when I got the job.
Well, I feel like you really just got the job this week.
I still got a job.
No,
I got a job, and then this is a different job. Technically a better job.
Technically a much better job.
A job that has benefits and has time off and has more pay.
All good things.
Yeah. But no, my lift.
Also the name of the Star Trek Next Generation finale.
What? All good things?
Correct.
I wonder if that's any kind of foreshadowing, considering the rest of that sentence is often must come to an end.
Also the name of my my WoW guild from way back when.
Mine was Obsidian Spur from Penny Arcade. It was the Penny Arcade Guild.
Ours, this is back when we were doing Molten Core. And then we attempted Blackwing Temple Lair, Blackwing Lair once. And then our guild basically fractured from
crushed under the pressure.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yep. And then it split it off to something else.
All of that was quite meaningless to me. I mean, I understand the concept of guilds and MMOs, but that's about as far as I go with that.
He made a reference I didn't care about, so I figured I'd make a reference that you wouldn't care about.
Great.
So now you just got to make an All Good Things reference that Jeff doesn't care about.
Is there like a Nickelback album or...
Fucking hate you.
That car hood was great.
Oh my God. The thing is, no, I've seen that before and it's just the worst. Like I almost want
Kiss
to.
is terrible.
I almost want to meet the garbage person who thought that was a good idea.
Pass.
You just want to judge him on it and you just take the picture and just look at this photograph.
No. Stop,
Okay.
Zach.
All right.
Stop. Jeff, you started school.
Yeah.
In 2019. So we all had big new life changes in 2019 as well.
Yeah. It cut into my game playing a little bit, but not too much. It was because the Saturday mornings, it's not like people are playing board games at 8 a.m. on Saturday. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Right on then. Well, let's jump into some listy lists then.
Yeah. Well, I guess I want to mention one other thing first, real quick. Just that we got the Alamo Draft House Pass.
Season Pass.
There we go. That let us see a shit ton of movies, which is awesome. Do you still have it?
I do, yes.
Okay.
I have the one movie a month.
The one?
Yeah, I cut down to one.
One pass a month, not one movie a month. Just want to clarify. I just want to clarify for the people
you're
listening.
Right. For the listeners. Yes, I'm
$20, one movie a month.
It's a great deal.
Yeah, and even that, I don't know if I'm gonna I'm going to keep. I just don't get a chance to watch enough movies.
Well, and
especially because you guys keep going to movies like on weekends.
Well, basically the only
That's when normal people go to movies.
I know.
Some of us are trying to make an effort of occasionally being like Monday or Tuesday night.
No, I've noticed.
But then you have like, MHGG or other shit that it's just, or you fucking going snowboarding, and it's like, well,
this is just a really bad time of the year for me to go to movies, which is why I think I might drop it and then maybe like pick it back up in like summer or something, assuming I can.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll be like, "Oh, you had the trial version and you just turned it down, sir."
I know. For me, I am never not paying this thing on just for any chance for them to be like, now you have to pay like everybody else. I don't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still so bitter about that. When I stop to think about it,
yeah,
it's so not fair.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, I'm literally the only one out of our entire friend group. It's not like everybody but you.
This is true. If it was everyone but me, I'd be really fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And even though Ant got in like
a couple days after me,
he also didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they gave it. I wonder if they just like gave it to me and then they're like, "Oh shit, that's a bad deal for us. Let's change it."
You immediately within like 3 weeks made them regret that decision.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So lots of movies also.
Yeah. Which I'm going to keep continuing to see a lot of movies this year.
Yeah, I still saw a lot of movies. I averaged, I think, almost 2 movies a month.
I saw 71 movies last year at the Draft House.
$0 is a pretty low bar.
Yes, it is. And
where $1.32 is like 132% higher bar.
That's very true. That is very true. Yeah. When you're not even factoring the not getting paid or not having the upcharge for the big show or even 3D. I'm not sure. But I only saw the one movie in 3D, so I don't remember.
Do you get the big show?
For free, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't even have to pay that, huh?
No.
Crazy. Let's see.
I went to jail.
I went to 43 movies this year.
Okay.
So I actually averaged almost 4 movies, almost one a week.
Yeah.
A little under.
Which is, you're making a lot of, I mean, obviously you're saving money from going to see the movie. You're not saving money at the movie.
No, I am not.
Which is what you have to reckon with. Because I remember after doing that for a couple months, I was like, let me pull up my bank account and let me look at all of these Alamo charges. Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we're going to break this down here. We're going to do, so we've already done our year in the review. So let's just do the video games and then we'll do all the board game things, which that's the order that I have them in. Right on. Well then, so video games. I really only have like one video game that's even worth mentioning. Jeff, do you have 3 video games also?
Yes.
Cool. Well, then you guys can do your number 3s because I definitely don't have number 3s.
Okay. I'll go with my number 3 first. And this was Hades. This was that, you know how I like roguelikes. And this is a roguelite, and it's a lot of fun. It's your Greek god or Greek god's son who's angsty and wants to leave hell, and his dad's like, no! And then so you have to beat your way out of hell by killing so many people. But then when you lose, you die, and then you respawn back in hell, and you just like welcome back in a very derogatory tone. But it's just been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it. I enjoyed Slay the Spire, which we're definitely going to talk about next week.
Yes.
Because I know you finally played it.
I've actually played it a lot.
I know.
But
it's good because anyway, we'll get about it next week, like I said. But yeah, no, I've definitely been my favorite roguelike so far this year.
Okay.
Last year. So, Jeff.
Apex Legends came out like February last year.
Out of nowhere.
I was always a big Titanfall fan. And then this is from Respawn, people of Titanfall fame.
Mm-hmm.
And played the bejesus out of it. I'll go back. I haven't played it as much recently.
Yeah, we played it a lot in the beginning, and then like I ended up jumping out before even like the first character was the first new character was introduced.
Yeah. I'll go back to it every once in a while, and then play it a bunch, and then stop, and then go back. And I'm about to hit the bottom, and then do the go back portion here pretty soon.
Did you ever play it, Adrian?
Which one?
Apex Legends.
No.
Okay. It's free. Just to let you know, it's not one of those games that we get you to pay $30 for and then never play.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm vaguely aware of it. It might even be like on a watch list or a wish list or something on Steam. But
I mean,
it is on Origins.
It's on Origins.
Oh.
So
then I'm definitely thinking of something else.
Yes, you are.
and I have very little interest in it.
Okay.
Because I don't think I even have Origins.
I mean, it's just a launcher. So,
I know.
no. If you have any EA game, you sure do.
I don't think I have any EA games on PC anymore.
Okay.
Since they launched Origin, I think I was like, oh, well, I guess that's just it for me.
Yeah.
I still play some EA games on Xbox though.
Yeah.
Number 2, then?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a number 2, or do you...
I don't think any of the games that I've been really excited about and that I've been really like, yeah, this is cool, are from 2019.
Uh-huh.
But I'm trying to remember, I think last year it was also like just what were our 3 favorite games of the year.
Yeah.
So in that case, I will go ahead and say, now I'm drawing a fucking blank on it.
Great.
Did I write it down?
I mean,
He interrupted us.
I did write it down.
Uh-huh. Good. What is it?
Number 2, for me, my second favorite game of the year, No Man's Sky. So 2019 was the year I finally heard just horrible things for so long, and they kept updating it. They've been
it's basically a new game now, so
yes,
and
that's fine. We'll allow it.
And yeah, so I finally decided to take the plunge. It was like massively on sale on Steam, and Megan and I both got it because it's another one that you can kind of like play together and build bases and travel around. Now. Well, and that's part of what we we waited is because now we could do that.
Even though they said you could, but you'll never find each other. And then there are multiple instances where 2 people were literally on the same spot on the same planet. They couldn't see each other, and you're like, liars.
Yeah.
Mentirosa.
Lying liars who lie.
Yeah.
that guy got a ton of shit when that game came out.
Yeah. It was ugly.
Yeah. People were pissed. And then they literally just came out and said nothing. They were just like, just yell into the void because we're not hearing you, and made many, many hundreds of millions of dollars. But then they came back and made good on a lot of the original promises.
And that's the thing that I do really appreciate is that they kept working on it for a long time. Like, it's still getting major updates.
Yeah.
That are like, even over the course of the year that I've been playing, there's been at least 2 major updates that each time have added a lot of stuff that have made the game much, much better.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing it again recently, and yeah, it's fun. It's still a little bit of a case of, several miles wide, but only a couple inches deep, which is a little unfortunate. It's getting deeper. That's the main thing they seem to be adding is the depth, which I appreciate. But it's fun to just fly around in spaceships and look at weird procedurally generated worlds and animals. So that's my number 2. Zach, what about you? What's your number 2?
My number 2, speaking of Respawn Entertainment, Last Jedi Fallen Order, the Star Wars game that came out this year. It was the good Star Wars story we had in 2019. So
hooray!
One of 2. Sorry, one of 2.
Yes.
Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mandalorian was real good.
Yeah. But this one was basically, hey, let's do a Dark Soul Dark Soul light game with lightsabers, and it works really well. I really enjoyed it. There's definitely some problems with it, especially with backtracking and the map. But it's just, the combat was fun. It felt rewarding, especially when you play at a slightly higher difficulty, and you just keep being like, this motherfucking frog asshole that's in a cave in the beginning.
Giant frog asshole
just kept beating the shit out of you, and then the time you beat him, you're like, yes, suck it. And like I said, the story was good. The acting was well done in the game. It was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Cool. Jeff, what about you? What's your number 2 for video game?
The Star Wars Last Jedi. It was amazing. I disagree with Zach on the map. I thought the map was very good because it had the red doors and the yellow doors and the green doors, so you could always tell where you needed to go.
No, that part was fine. I just felt that, especially once the map got big, it was hard to orient where you needed to go versus where you were now. So
pathfinding through the world,
yes,
is what you mean. Okay,
well, in the map itself,
yeah,
because the map was made to look like
the
Star Wars holograms, which look shitty.
Fair enough.
And it's like it thematically works well. It just it is just not a gameplay feature that I enjoyed. I felt there could have been a way to make it a little bit clearer, but yeah,
fair.
Yes,
Last Jedi was real good,
especially
when you can do the $15 a month like EA Premiere thing, and then just play it and then just unsubscribe, and then you only played it for $15 and not $60.
That's true.
Yeah.
But now I know, like, at least if they have any expansions for it or DLC and things like that, I can
just resub because
That's true.
all the DLC comes with it.
Really?
Because you get the deluxe Uber edition with the premiere.
Oh, didn't know that.
Like all of Battlefront 2 had all the DLC in it, so I could go
Okay.
in there and have like, I have all the skins. Because on the last day, I was like, oh, it's my last day. I never played Battlefront 2. And I went in and I was like, this is okay now. I got to play on that like Red Salt Last Jedi planet map.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. That brings us to the number one video games of the year. Mine's going to continue the trend if it's not a game from 2019 because I do not play new video games like ever anymore.
Because you don't want to spend full price.
Because I don't spend full price on them. It's like, I'll wait for a Steam sale.
Yes.
4 years from now.
It is a rare occasion that I pay full price for any video game.
Yeah.
In fact, there's one game on this list that I paid full price for. Because Apex is free.
Uh-huh. Yep.
We'll find out what it is here in a second.
Yes.
My number one game of the year is one that Zach has been telling me I needed to play for a very long time, and it was cheap enough, and I pulled the trigger, and holy shit, Divinity Original Sin 2 is really, 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 really good. Like, it's really hard, but it's really good, and I really like it. And now I'm already waiting for it to be on sale again so I can buy Megan a copy, because it even has, like, a DM mode. And she's been talking, like, since we've been doing Dungeons & Dragons, she's like, I wish we could do more, like, just the two of us doing Dungeons & Dragons. I was like, I bet I could do that a little bit in that game. So, yeah.
The new Lunar New Year sale is on right now, so you should probably check.
Yes.
I kickstarted that game long, long ago. Divinity is great. I kickstarted the first one, kickstarted the second one. They're all good.
But not the board game, man. What the hell?
I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Did you know that Temtem, that like Pokemon ripoff, that was a Kickstarter originally?
Really?
The MMO Pokemon. Yeah.
Did not know that.
I didn't think that video game Kickstarters even worked anymore.
Yeah, right?
No kidding.
I thought it was just a money pit,
It's all a scam.
like a Tom Hanks movie.
Yes.
Sure. Anyway, Divinity Original Sin, I've really been liking. That's my number one. Zach, what's your number one?
My number one is VR.
Sure.
Virtual reality.
Yeah, virtual reality. I finally got to try that, and holy shit, I really loved it. And now I've keep talking about how I need to buy into it, and looking forward to the games that are coming out soon, especially like Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah.
But I would have been really upset if I like really enjoyed it, but I was also one of the people that just like immediately just start throwing up. Just like,
Guess I have to attach a bucket to my face.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like, let's play VR. But yeah, that was definitely my favorite video game experience.
Okay.
Enjoy.
I'll
Yeah,
allow it.
Yeah.
We'll count it.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't leaving my number one. I don't know what to tell you.
Fair enough. Still going to pretend like, it was my choice and I'm just like, okay with it.
Okay.
But
All right.
that way
Whatever.
we both feel good.
Yeah. Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Jeff, what's your number one?
Control. Control's like a third-person shooter. X-Files meets Twin Peaks meets SCP. I think I've talked about it when it came out. I played the absolute shit out of that game. And it's not the easiest game to 100% because there's a million files everywhere, and they're all like really interesting, like redacted, crazy nightmare stuff.
Yeah.
About like the objects of power and all of these weird alternate reality events. And
It's if you ever saw the sci-fi miniseries The Lost Room, it's sort of like that.
if you've ever read the SCP wiki, it's like that. It starts off with you just going into this the Federal Bureau of Control, and it's about trying to contain all these objects, except no one's there, and suddenly you're the director, and you're like, I'm just here looking for my brother that I've been separated for 17 years from,
and they're like, you're in charge now. So.
Yeah. And it's all about going through this mystery and going into these weird, crazy areas. In this the oldest house, which just constantly moves. It's all like brutalism architecture and just like a million interesting side quests, and you want to find every little piece of information in that game because it's all awesome. And then the combat's okay.
Yeah, that's very true. had I played more of it, it probably would have made my list. I definitely enjoyed it, but I've only played like an hour or so into it. And like you said, every time I'm like fighting somebody, like I'm playing it on my computer, I'm like using my mouse and keyboard for a bit. I'm like, would this be better with the controller? And then I get the controller, and then I'm like, I feel like this. I keep every time I'm playing with one of the setups, I'm like, I feel like it would be better on the other one.
I definitely went to controller.
Yeah,
it was too hard on mouse and keyboard to get all the buttons you needed. But
yeah,
Control is absolutely fantastic.
Right on.
I can't wait until their more DLC stuff comes out.
Cool.
They're the same people that did like the Alan Wake games back in the day.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Max Payne 2 and 1, but not 3.
No, Rockstar did 3.
Yes, they did.
So yeah, it had that really weird kind of Twin Peaksy vibe, and I was enthralled with the story the whole time.
Yeah, no, it's a real good story.
Yeah,
cool.
Also, really good acting.
And it looks real pretty.
It does.
Nice.
You got ray tracing. That's the game for it.
The director has a gun that selects who the director is going to be, but you have to hold it up to your head, and then if it doesn't kill you, you're the director.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's a phone that you can talk to the dead directors on. It's like a red phone.
Yeah.
Then there's that hotel you go through that you have to click lights 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
It's nuts. It's great. I can't wait till it hits Steam so everyone can play it.
Yeah.
Because it was an Epic Store exclusive.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's where I bought it.
Right on. Well, that covers video games and stuff. So we can move on into more of the actual board game awards portion of the show. So we will do our categories for board games. So things like best art, best components, stuff like that. For this, we'll do like once around to see if anybody has any honorable mentions, and then we'll go around and do what the winner is for that. And we'll just blast through a whole bunch of those.
Just start blasting.
Well, then let's start off here at the top of things with the best art. So I'll start, and I think this is the only game on my entire list that I haven't actually played, but I've seen it in person, and I know that its art is fantastic. And it's just art that I really like, and that is Parks, the game about traveling the national park system.
Yeah.
And it's just got really fantastic art. The national parks have been doing a lot of really cool, like, I don't even know what kind of art to call it, but like really cool art for all the different parks and things that just, it's fantastic. The artist they got for it has done a very good job, and the game took all that straight and put it into the game, and it looks real pretty. So
yes, it does.
That's my I guess I went right into mine right after I said, is there going to be any honorable mentions?
That's fine.
I didn't have an honorable mention. Do you guys have any honorable mentions for best art?
Nope.
No. Well, yeah, whatever. I don't know. The Vital
Beatles?
Lizard, like the On Mars and Escape. Like, Tool's art is real good.
Yes.
So
Honorable mention, Tool.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Right on. Then, Jeff, what is your best art?
My best art is Obscurio. So it's another one of those Dixit type games, but I was so impressed by how...
I forgot all about Obscurio.
I was so impressed about how good that art ties in with the mechanics of the game, where you have the traitor that's trying to trick everyone else because the leader knows where he's trying to point you to, but there's so many other very similar arts that traitor can trick someone into thinking that would have been the art you needed. And just having so similar clues here or there that all combine into all like these dozens of different art pieces that, Dixit-like art has always been interesting because it has that dreamlike look to it. With this one being slightly more realistic because it's like a mage tower. But just being able to have that consistency throughout everything to make it an interesting game, I thought was very impressive.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good option. Like I said, I completely forgot all about Obscurio.
No, the only time I was offered to play it, I did not. I just was like, I'm going to go do that instead. So I don't even know. I vaguely know how it's played, but I don't know anything about what it looks like. So gotcha. I cannot comment on the matter other than that comment I just said.
Thanks for all of that.
It's what I do.
Zach, what about you? What's your best art?
So there was a lot of stuff that I was trying to figure out, or I was thinking, I was like, oh, it could be this, it could be that, but like a lot of it tended to be like Aquatica was like had like the board was really good looking, but then like a lot of the cards and stuff, I was like, or just things that had part of it. But for me, my favorite, like, just looking game overall package actually just turned out to be QE, especially with how, as much as I know some people like wooden games, like how much of an upgrade it was from the original QE.
Yeah.
And I understand, obviously, the difference in making them.
Right.
But I just really liked how clean and just concise and just how modern it looked. And
Okay.
It just, yeah.
I could have seen that for best components. Art surprises me a little bit, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. QE, new QE is really good.
Yeah.
All right. So next up is best components. Zach, do you have any honorable mentions for best components?
Yeah. Sort of. No, we'll just say no. No, we're good.
Jeff, do you?
No.
All right. I do for this. So my honorable mention isn't best components, but it's the best upgrade of components.
Okay.
And it's basically like from one edition to the next, like the biggest jump I've seen, and it's only noticeable because of what it is, and it's 1824 because I got my Kickstarter. Yeah. And like, holy shit, having actual like cardboard chits for the railroad ties instead of those flimsy little, like I was always like, oh no, these are fine. They're really functional. And then I got those and I'm like,
yeah,
it's better
we tried
this
to tell
way.
You, man.
It's so much better this way.
Yeah.
Like everything's like good thick cardboard and it feels like a board game.
Yeah.
Not print and play.
Yeah.
Like Ant said, how is it to have the first actual 18XX game?
I know, it finally delivered after so many years of prototypes.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's why it's my honorable mention, because although it is a noticeably huge upgrade from what 18XX has been in the past, it's still not enough to make like an actual best components list. But I did want to like mention it there.
I don't know. This is, I mean, it's like is it on the level of like, what was it, Terraforming Mars or something?
Still Terraforming Mars player boards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It might have passed Terraforming Mars, like base Terraforming Mars in component quality.
Yeah.
So
honorable mention complete.
Yeah. Yes. So then, Zach, we'll start with you. What is your best components?
So this one is just Taverns of Tiefenthal. Just how, like, and that's just your tavern board, just how everything just fits so amazingly and lines into where, like, you have it all disassembled and then you have it all assembled and it looks, with one or two little things about, like, it just looks like it's just one board.
Yeah.
And when you're upgrading stuff and you're flipping it, it still meshes perfectly. So that was one of my favorite things I saw whenever I saw it, like online somewhere. And then when I played it, I was just like, yeah, I get to. It felt really like it felt gratifying to upgrade shit in your tavern because you're like, now I have a full dishwasher, and now I have stuff like that. So it was
okay.
That was an easy number one in my mind. When I was making this list.
It was on my list until I thought of something else.
That's
so I can totally see that. Jeff, what about you? What is your best component?
I really liked the components in Downfall. TMG loves their big, thick, chunky cardboard chits.
They really do.
And I think they really knocked this one out of the park with especially how much is in there, because it is your 4X style game.
Yeah.
The airships, all of your little soldiers and survivors, bunkers, outposts, all the resources, just kind of how everything was designed. The hexes could have maybe not been 3 different chunks sometimes, but I really liked how distinct everything else was. And I thought the regular edition was actually better than the deluxe edition because the deluxe edition added minis in for the airships, which aren't as practical to actually play with. When like the cardboard ones, you can actually put your survivors in and put the resources on.
Yeah.
It was neat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. My best components is PAX Premier 2nd Edition. So I'd kind of forgotten about this one because the game itself didn't blow me away the one time I played it. But then somebody had mentioned it in our Slack channel, and I started thinking about it, and I like even came home and like pulled it up to remember, like, is it as good as I'm thinking? And yeah, it's real good. It's got these really nice, like thick, like resin player markers that are etched really nice and feel nice and chunky, and they've got they're one of the only pastel things that I actually like. But they move around real nice. The map is really nice, like roll up cloth map that is even like they say is, meant to be, it's supposed to be like you're playing it, in Afghanistan as you're like fighting for tribal alliance. You're like laying out the map in the desert and like plotting things. And all of those were real good. And I've seen some people who've done like a light ink wash on those
I'm sure that
tokens and man.
No, I know the components were a big upgrade on that second edition versus the first.
Yeah. So Pax Pamir second edition is the best components for me. So next up will be best mechanic / mechanism. Jeff, do you have an honorable mention?
No.
Zach?
Yes. So one of the hot games I played at BGG was Aquatica, which overall was fairly I wasn't that big a fan of it, especially with the end game of it, but it had a really cool thing of like you're trying to unearth things from the ground, and it had it had a dual layer board, but you could slide the card in between it, but at different levels, like as you were digging farther and farther, you were like pushing the card further and further underneath, and I felt it was just a really good it could have been one of those things where you just tuck it behind something, but just having the dual layer cardboard that it tucked in between and that you could easily see the various levels, I thought it just looked really cool, and it meshed well with like the card art and the board art and stuff like that.
Okay, right on. So that was your honorable mention. I don't have an honorable mention. Jeff, what was your best mechanism / mechanic?
I slotted in the Taverns of Tiefenthal as the best mechanic for its modular gaming system, where Zach chose it for like components and how well they fit together. I chose it for how many different things you can add to or take away from that game that change how you play. There's the Schnapps module, there's the the guest book module, there's the like draft upgrade module, and we've played it at least. I think I've played it at least 3 times at this point, and played it all different ways, and it was all interesting options for how you set up that game.
Okay.
And then, everything just fits real nice together. So
yeah, it does fit together real nice. I think Taverns makes a lot of sense there. For me, this was another one I really struggled with. Like, I even in Slack, I was like, man, I don't feel like the last time I felt like I really came across a good, new, interesting mechanism. And I still kind of feel that way. But I went with Wavelength for just the novel, like, cards they came up with that were like a binary, like a scale of, something to something else that lead to really interesting discussion of like where, trying to find, because the way the game's played, for those of you who don't know, you like randomly, you spin the dial and it will give you like what sector you're trying to hit. And then you draw a card and you're like, oh, so on a scale of sandwich to not a sandwich, I have to get, like 60% not a sandwich.
Let's say
that's a dangerous category, though.
Let's say between 0 and 180 degrees.
Yes.
And you need to hit 67 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like,
So it's on the sandwich side. What would be like kind of a sandwich?
right? Because you feel like sandwich or not a sandwich, it's like so binary.
Hot dog, clearly.
Well,
0% sandwich.
Yeah.
I mean, hot dog goes right in the middle because hot dog is the ultimate debate about what side it falls on.
It's an open face sandwich.
Pizza. Is pizza just an open face sandwich?
Yeah, exactly. Is cereal soup?
Well, I think it has to depend on for pizza. What if it's like big floppy New York and you fold it, then it's toppings between 2 pieces of bread.
Or one big piece of bread.
Or one big piece of bread.
Yeah.
Now it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Well, you got to roll it at least once. It's a taco.
Is a wrap a sandwich?
Yeah. And then, so that's what you're trying to think of.
So that's Wavelength.
Yeah. And the thing is that one person is thinking like that, and then when you're like, okay, I'm going to do it because of all that, and then another person looks at, like, kind of a sandwich, and they're like, well, it's obviously blah, blah, because they have totally, like, they interpret that question and that clue totally differently. So I think, no, I can understand that. It was a fun party. It was a fun new party game style thing.
Yes.
And
so that was the thing I liked, is that it made for interesting discussions while also still being a fun game. Like they managed to take,
especially with the expert ones, they get to things like, how the fuck do I do 1/3 of that?
Right.
Like from that scale. So yeah.
But yeah, so I thought that was clever. So that's going to be my best mechanism, whatever.
So mine was Team 3. I know you didn't like that game. Like
Nope.
you bounced off of it very quickly. You enjoyed it and then not, or you just never enjoyed it?
I blew through it in one session.
Gotcha.
We played 3 games of it where we basically rotated the 3 positions, so we each got to do each one of them. And I was like, cool, I've experienced everything that I care to experience about this game.
But I really enjoyed all like which role you're in, like how different playing the game is, and like trying to figure out how to interpret, someone's hand signals or just their verbal commands, but not being able to see. And I just liked how it was taking away each of those senses.
Yeah.
To great comedic effect for me. So, and I cannot imagine trying to do some of those hard ones. That's fucking crazy.
For me, it is definitely much more fun to just be a bystander.
Yeah, I can see that because you're definitely fun trying to watch somebody do, and it's, like you said, sitting outside, you could be like, well, it's clearly this. What the fuck are they doing?
Watching some people completely misunderstand the concept of turn it 180 degrees.
Yes. Yeah. Oh God. So many times. Yeah.
Flip it horizontally. Flip it vertically.
Flip it vertically and horizontally.
You're like, God damn it.
Just flip it vertically and horizontally 180 degrees?
Yeah. Just do a 360-degree turn for it, please.
Yeah. Just see what happens.
Yeah. Right on. So next up, we're gonna be moving on to most disappointing, and then I will have an addendum that is disappointing in a different way. Maybe?
Right. Okay.
I don't know. So all right. Well, I have a feeling you guys are the same because I think this is the category we're talking about, which means that mine's not the same in this situation. But we'll start, I guess, officially with Zach.
Honorable mentions.
Oh, honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have one honorable mention, and that is Twice as Clever. Because I played the app of it a lot. Because as you know, I played like 600 games of You're So Clever. Oh, I can't even remember what the game's called. Ganchan, whatever the Ganchan Clever. I played a shitload of it, and then I played the app, and it just felt like it was trying to do too much, and it just lost. I lost interest on that one really quickly, and I just started going back to Gons, especially when they released another like sheet of it. I was like, yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot more than the extra stuff that they added in Twice as Clever. So
okay,
it really fell flat for me.
Right on. Jeff, do you have an honorable mention for most disappointing?
Silver, which is the spiritual sequel to Cabo, but it had the problem that Coup had when they started adding in too many roles and things like that.
Yeah.
Where the original was great, and then it just got too messy. Where Cabo was great, it had the 3 powers on the high cards, and then Silver had a power on every single card.
Yeah.
And that was just too much.
Yeah, Cabo felt like a gamified game of golf, whereas that just felt like it tried to gamify an already game. So it
tried to gamify the gamifying.
Exactly, and it just got too.
And then they had a second.
It's squared, and when it should have just added.
Yeah, and then they had Silver, because they called it Silver and Silver Bullet, but the first game had Amulet on the box, so it should have really been Silver Amulet and then Silver Bullet.
Which I think they changed the name to Amulet.
Yeah, and then Silver Bullet is just, here's another set of cards that have different powers on every single number. Like,
it's one of those things you just get too much interaction going, then you're trying to figure out how does this work with this, and it just
too much.
Gotcha.
So Cabo will stay the king.
Right on. I guess I can use my second category as my honorable mention.
Okay.
So it was going to be my most overhyped category. And for me, this was a game that just did not live up to the hype that and it still has, and I just don't understand. And that's Wingspan. Like, it's fine, but it's not number 26 of all time. It's not, and people still on like the board game groups on Facebook and on Reddit, like people still go nuts about this game, and I just don't get it. Like, it's a very simple tableau building game. There doesn't seem to be a lot there, but apparently it's Stegmaier and it's birds, and apparently people are fucking crazy about birds, and I didn't know it.
People fucking love birds.
Yeah, I thought I didn't think the kind of people who really loved birds also really loved board games.
Yeah.
I thought those were two very different
hobbies.
This
is definitely one where you could be like, hey, bird people, come play the game.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great game to give. Like Megan's got an aunt and uncle who kind of like board games, like very light entry level board games.
Yeah,
but they fucking super love birds. Like they're super hardcore bird watchers. They love this game.
Yeah,
and I feel fine giving them to them because it's the kind of game I would feel fine giving to somebody who's not really much of a gamer and trust that they could play it and play it fine. So
no, yeah, I mean,
it does sure look pretty. Also,
it looks pretty. Beth Sobel,
yep.
the art, it did really good job on the art. Like you said, it's a Stonemaier game.
But yeah, so not so much disappointing because like I wasn't expecting a lot out of it, so I wasn't disappointed, but it definitely felt super overhyped, and I'll just call that my disappointed honorable mention.
Okay, yeah.
So, Zach, what about you? What was your most disappointing?
My most disappointing game was Edge of Darkness. Because I remember when we first saw the Kickstarter, I was like, oh, this looks like it's really cool. I was excited when Jeff ended up backing it and backing like so much of it. And then,
there was only the one pledge level, and then the pledge level with the expansion, and I got it with the expansion.
Yes, and we all liked Mystic Veil.
Yeah,
and it was like Mystic Veil felt a little bit like, oh, this is a really cool mechanism. Let's see other games that do this. Like we had the trick taking, not trick taking game,
custom heroes
that had it. I was like, that's cool. And now I was looking forward to another take on the card crafting, and then we played it, and it just fell really flat for me.
Oh my god, I know.
We played it the once, and then I was like, I'm good, not anymore.
It's just too much game.
Yeah.
It's another one. They gamified the gamify.
Well, and we just played like the basic
scenario one,
and it was just like no, it just seems like way too much. So
yeah, the board, the table space is way too big. It has like optional sideboards
that you do not
need. It's just an absolutely massive overproduced game.
Yeah,
like here's this tower that you don't really need. All you really need is just 3 cards. And then you randomly draw out of the bag, but then you have to randomly distribute them to the 3 piles, I guess.
And so they're like, "Well, have a giant dice tower for that." So,
yeah.
Right. So.
And then the components were like the deluxeified components were pretty crappy.
Yeah.
And there wasn't enough of them.
Yes. Oh, wasn't it where it was like hard to see what they were, and so you ended up using the cardboard?
Wanted to use the cardboard shits more than the actual like plastic upgrades. But the plastic was so cheap and
it was all one color, so it was hard to see,
and you couldn't really even see what was on there.
Yeah,
because it was like kind of like a bright blue or a bright gold, and they weren't like embossed enough to tell what it was. Like, yeah. Seems like they cheaped out on the deluxe stuff, where I would have rather just had their cardboard shits, which also came with it. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice at least.
The metal pieces were nice though.
Yes, the metal was nice, but the plastic pieces were worse than the cardboard.
Yep.
Cool. So that was Edge of Darkness for you, Zach. Yep. Jeff, what about you?
War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds checked every box in a game that I would love. It was a deck builder. It was area control. It had a decent theme of aliens, asymmetric, aliens versus humans. But it was only fun to play one of the factions. If you were playing aliens, you had fun. If you played humans, you were just getting stomped on the whole game, which is very thematic, but is not fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have seen evidence of humans winning, but humans never won in any of the games that we played.
Well, I don't know about seeing evidence. I've heard tales. There are myths about the humans winning. Really what it is we've heard, what the ancestors said in the caves after the aliens stripped the earth bare and left, and they were telling them, "Oh yes, we beat them, Sonny." I'm like, no, I'm not sure I believe.
Yeah, I think I played 7 times, all as humans, just to try and get really good as the humans, and still never won. And was even losing to brand new alien players.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Like, I'd played 4 or 5 games when I played Paul, and I stuck him as humans, or I stuck him as aliens, gave him a very basic teach, and then went with it, and nope, didn't even come close. So, yeah. I totally get that one. For my most disappointing, it was another game. Man, it was another one that, just like War of the Worlds for Jeff, this one should have ticked all my boxes. heavy game, great designer, great artwork, like everything. And then we played it and we reviewed it, and holy shit, Pipeline.
Oh, right.
I wanted to like
I started
Pipeline.
writing it down before you finished.
Yeah.
I wanted to like Pipeline so much more.
It was a capstone game, man.
It was a capstone game, and people that I respect their opinions were raving about it. People whose tastes I align with.
The people's whose opinions you didn't respect were hating it.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, obviously it must be.
It must be great.
Yeah. I
wanted to like it so much, and just no. I'm fine not ever playing Pipeline ever again. It just didn't all come together for me.
And it's still weird how it was like not that much interaction except for one part that's like super fuck you-y.
Yeah.
The research.
Yeah, I
Upgrades.
researched this and I fucked this other one so that nobody else can do it.
I wonder if Paul's ever played his game.
I don't think. Well, I think didn't he play one of the games with us?
No.
No, the first game I played with him was with Paul.
Oh, okay.
And then I asked to borrow it, and then we played it a couple more times, and we're like, nope.
And then we
And
reviewed
then
it.
we reviewed it,
and
and
we're like, here you go, Paul. Good luck.
GG. But yeah, so Pipeline by far and away my most disappointing of 2019. Right on. So that basically brings us pretty close to the main meat of the list, which means it's time to take a little bit of a break and let Zach go just crazy with his annual weird thematic list.
Which I wasn't sure it was going to happen until literally, I don't know, an hour ago. So this one, like I said, I always try and do them theme-based. This one I came up with is just Marvel. No reason.
No
It.
reason. No.
It's been a while since a big Marvel movie came out, right?
Yeah.
It was 2019 wasn't a good year for Marvel.
No,
from
I don't
what
think so.
understand.
No.
I don't even remember a Marvel movie.
Yeah. Star Wars isn't Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Not yet.
No.
Well, the comics were back in the day.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Marvel produced all the comics back in the
Didn't they
80s.
do the Dark Vader one recently too?
Yeah, they've had the comic license for quite a few years, but all the way back to the original Star Wars.
Yeah, but there's not a crossover.
I'm sure there is
I'm sure there
somewhere.
is. There's crossovers everything.
There's a Star Trek Doctor Who crossover.
Yeah.
So there's got to be one.
Well, sure, but the Doctor can just do whatever the fuck you want.
There's a
to go with.
DC and Watchmen crossover too. So it's
I'm sure Alan Moore loves it.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that Alan Moore loves that somebody did with Watchmen.
Yeah.
Was cross it over with DC.
Yeah.
All right. Anyhow.
All right.
Let's get on with
Okay.
Zach's Marvel list here.
So this one is the Thanos Award. And so this is, perfectly balanced as all things should be. This is the best dexterity game. And that was Men at Work.
Okay.
Because you look at a half completed construction site and you're like, this is how it should look. This is how
perfect.
this is how construction looks.
Yes.
That only the Mad Titan could love.
Yes.
Only the Mad Titan can lift some of those girders like people are in that
Yeah.
game.
So the next one is we'll do the Steve Rogers Award. Because I understood that reference. And this is the game with the most deep cuts. And that's going to be Marvel Champions, the card game. Because the first time that we played, anytime I'd play a car, Jeff would be like, they have that in here?
Why
they have that?
Why are they referencing this? Someone knows some good shit back at fucking Fantasy Flight.
Yeah.
Or they had a really good partnership with someone at Marvel. Because those deep cuts are great.
Yeah. So this next one is we're going to do the Loki Award. There was this one time when we were children, he transformed himself into a snake. And he knows I love snakes. So I went to pick up the snake to admire it, and then he transformed back into himself, and he was like, blah, it's me. And then he stabbed me.
That is the longest title for a board game award.
No, so this is the most ruthless game with an innocuous theme, and that was Vanuatu.
Yeah.
We played it. It's like, you're just, you're trying to help tourists doing stuff, but it was a fucking ruthless game. Jesus Christ. The next one is the Dormammu Award. Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and this is the best repeating game. And this was Monikers, because you're basically going through the same clues each time with smaller ones. It was a lot of fun when I played it.
Okay.
The next one, the Dormammu Award. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. End this. You'll never win. No, but I can lose again and again and again forever. And this is the game I kept losing at, but forced the opponent to keep playing me. And that was Patchwork at the hard difficulty. The AI, I just could not fucking win on that mother. I played that at least like 150 times this year, trying to just fucking beat him. And I beat him earlier, like a week ago. And I was like, fuck yeah. It felt really great.
1 to 149.
Yeah.
This is why I got raffle stomped in Patchwork.
Yes.
Is because Zach has played the hard AI 100 and some times this year.
Yeah. All right. So the third one is the Dormammu Award. Dormammu, I've come to bargain. You can't do this forever.
I hate it so much.
Yeah. Actually, I can. This is how things are now. You and me trapped in this moment endlessly. And this is a game that you feel like you're basically trapped in forever. This is from you, Adrian. This was High Frontier.
Oh my God. It never ended.
Yeah. And you were like halfway done after an entire day.
No, we weren't. There's no way we were even halfway done.
Like
I had
13 hours.
I had barely built a rocket 13 hours later.
All right. This is the next one is the I Am Groot Award. And it's I Am Groot, and it's I Am Groot, and I Am Groot. So
Great.
Cool. Thanks for that.
The next one is we'll do the Quentin Beck Award.
What?
That's Mysterio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also known as basically the same character from Nightcrawler.
Yes. Yeah.
He's very similar between
Yeah.
both.
These days, you can be the smartest guy in the room, the most qualified, and no one cares. Unless you're flying around with a cape or shooting lasers with your hands, no one will even listen. And this is just the most overproduced game. And that was Tapestry.
Yeah.
And then this one is the Hawkeye Award. And the city is flying, and we're fighting an army of robots, and I have a bow and arrow. And this is just feeling completely overwhelmed against your opponent. And that was War of the Worlds. As the humans.
Yeah.
They've got this giant thing, and I got a dog that I could just stick on them once, and then they kill the dog. Great. All right. Yeah.
I was really hoping that you were going to have a Steve Rogers / Captain America one that was I could do this all day, and it was like a game that you could just keep playing over and over. And over.
I was going to do that. I had that as the Patchwork originally. The one that I kept trying, and then I was just like, no, I want to put it in the Dormammu one, as I kept saying
the ridiculous
Yes.
Dormammu section.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right on. So that wraps up the Zach Awards. And so we can now move over to the big stuff, the things you came here to hear about. So let's go ahead and we'll do best new to me. Jeff, do you have any honorable mentions for new to me?
Yes. My honorable mention for best new to me is Hyperborea. I played that back at Geekway with Andrew and his friend John in town, and it's a great little area control asymmetric game.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to play more of it. I want to purchase a copy. It is weirdly cheap for how much comes in that game.
Probably because it's a little bit older and
still in print. Or never sold or something. But Hyperborea was I want to get more of that game in.
Right on. Zach, what about you? Do you have a new to me honorable mention?
Yes. And I'm pretty sure I should have double checked. But I'm going to say, Quest for El Dorado. I want to say I played that first this year at Geekway.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when Boyd gave it to you guys. Because this was the only Geekway I hadn't gone to.
That's right. Yes. Yep.
Yes.
So that one, I really enjoyed it when we played it. So.
Yeah. Damn, that's a good one. That should have been maybe on my list as well. But I've got some good ones. So I have two honorable mentions because
one of them's Quest for El Dorado.
No. Quest for El Dorado would be 4. But would have made it 4. But no, I'm going to stick with the ones I had. So my two honorable mentions are, let me make sure I get them in the right order, because I was so back and forth on all three of these, which one would actually win. So honorable mentions, Snowdonia. I'd been hearing for a long time that this was a game I needed to play. I, over a year ago, met Tony and got to be friends with him, and this was like the game he was known for, and it took me over a year later to play it. finally got around to playing it, and yeah, it's real good. I like Snowdonia a lot. And then Bus. Capstone did the 20th anniversary of Bus. Yet another splatter that I like. It's definitely, I like the other three that I've played more. Well, the other three that I've played that I like, because Roads and Boats is now, it continues to be my least favorite splatter. But Bus is on the positive side of that scale. So those are my two honorable mentions. Jeff, what was the best new to you of 2019?
Brass Lancashire. Game from 2007?
Yes.
So finally playing it in 2019. And it was great. I really like the old original Brass, for sure.
I am almost 100% positive we reviewed that like way before 2019.
Yeah.
I think that was the same look that Zach just gave me.
Oh.
October 12th, 2018.
Oh.
Get your shit together, Jeff.
Okay.
That's fine. It's a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we played it. We did play it in 2019.
I guess I was probably thinking of the play that we did on stream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll count it.
It's become the best new to me in 2019.
There you go. There you go. Zach, what about you? What's your best new to me?
So when at BGG Con, I played 22 games, I think, or 24, somewhere almost 24, if not 24. But there's only 2 games that after I played them, I was like, I want to buy these games. And one was Taverns, and the other one hasn't arrived yet, but it was Obsession. So this came out in 2018. But this is it. Basically, you're running like an English household, and you're basically you're throwing like tea parties and just like events, and it's all about like aristocratic, like high society in England, and you're trying to get your kids married off to like the rich family and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun. You all right?
Yeah, no, I just thought of a game that I actually had a ton of fun with. That was an ancient game. That description was very similar.
Okay. But it was a lot of fun, and after BGG Con, me and I think Ofer too, we both backed, because the Kickstarter for the expansion for Obsession had finished, but they were still allowing late pledges, and we both backed everything. So
right on.
Yeah.
And for me, the best new to me was another Capstone game, their reprint of Irish Gauge. Irish Gauge is a game that's been around for a little while. It's been a Winsome. It was a lot harder to find. It was like, that's kind of the thing with Winsomes. And Capstone got it and mass produced it and threw it onto a pretty Ian O'Toole designed board with a cool Ian O'Toole box and some nice little wooden components, and did it for like $30, and it's great. And yeah, really, really have been enjoying my plays of Irish Gauge, even though I am apparently fucking terrible at Irish Gauge. I haven't even come close to winning. I've been like last or second to last in every game of Irish Gauge I've played. I don't know how I'm so bad at it, but I really, really like it. So, Irish Gauge, best new to me. So, missed opportunities. Zach, would you like to start?
So I just have 3 as of right now, and that's Tainted Grail, because I forgot to switch it to 2-wave shipping instead of 1-wave. Else I would have played it before the end of the year. The King's Dilemma, Chad on the Slack was really talking it up, and I really wanted to play it. And so I ended up buying it the same day from a local from all Time Well Spent Games.
Yes.
And I went down to Littleton to go get it, and I was like, I got it. And then I hadn't played it since. I could have easily just ordered it from wherever and just let the shipping. But I just really wanted to play it. And I know I want to get it at some point. Once we start finishing some of these other campaign games, it's definitely going to be one that I want to put on there. And then eventually I'd like to play Clank Legacy too, because I've heard a lot of good things about it. So
okay.
It's just expensive. And it was another Legacy game. I was like, I'm not even going to buy it because I got enough shit that I haven't played yet. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
So for me, my missed opportunities, I've got 5.
I thought you said it was a list of 10.
No. I've got a list of 5 major missed opportunities here that are games that I've really wanted to play, and I just haven't had a chance. So, City of the Big Shoulders, I've heard a lot of great things about. There's an endless debate about whether or not it can be considered kind of an 18XX or 18XX inspired, or whether it's not at all like 18XX, robble. I don't care. I want to play it. It seems interesting. So that's one of them. Maracaibo is another one I've heard from a lot of heavy gamers that's really good. Heavy Cardboard, actually, I think streaming that right now as we're recording this.
Just remember that I believe this is from the people that did Great Western Trail. So
yes,
and it has a similar sort of looping mechanism. Yep. So,
but if I had never played Great Western Trail, it would almost certainly have been on a missed opportunities list. You know, sometimes you don't realize that an opportunity is actually a disappointment until you try it.
That's true.
On Mars is another one, like, and that one actually was getting played at game night the other night. Like, it's here. People have it in Denver.
You have it, right?
No,
Paul has it.
Maybe.
I don't think so. He was talking about trying to sell Lisboa or something and pick it up.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately that was on Kickstarter when I was unemployed and I didn't have the cash.
That's
or
right.
like it. Yeah, that was and so I didn't get a chance to get it. And I really want that because I love Lacerda is one of my favorite designers. I love his games. Whatever Nick says, I don't care. I love Lacerda. Then also because of a Nick review that wasn't positive, that made me put Cooper Island on my list. He talked about it being like just kind of a puzzle to solve kind of game, and that there's a lot of things you can do, and it's just trying to parse what the best puzzle is there. And that's the kind of stuff I like. So I really want to try Cooper Island. It's another Capstone Games one. So it'll be another game for Zach to completely hate.
Mm-hmm.
And then last but not least, another one. It's weird how many of these are here actually because of Nick, because of the things he talks about on the Slack channel. But Res Arcana, he's talked a lot about that. And I know that's another one that some heavy gamers have been kind of surprised by actually being a solid game. I don't know much about Res Arcana. He was talking about the mechanics a little bit, that it was one of the more interesting mechanics that he felt for the year, because there's something about like you choose one card to play, one card to go on top of the deck, and the other card to go on the bottom. And so it's just trying to balance, like you've got these three things. It's like, okay, well, one of them I won't get to ever see again. One of them will go like I'll see immediately, and then one I get to do right now. Nope, that's Paladins apparently. So I don't remember what he was saying about Res Arcana, but whatever. Res Arcana is also on there.
It's nice to have someone to be able to fact check you being wrong
immediately. I know that's the whole point of streaming. But yeah, so those are all of my missed opportunities. Jeff, do you have any missed opportunities for 2019?
Yeah, I've got two. I wanted to play more Undaunted. Thankfully, I own Undaunted, so I can just play
make that happen.
I can make it happen.
You only have yourself to blame, is what
correct.
I'm hearing.
Okay. I got God of the War to the table multiple times.
Yep.
I'm glad I did that. I'm still liking God of War. And then my most missed is I've been really interested in playing Black Angel and have just not come across a copy that anyone owns and have not been willing to put forth money to purchase it. But I do want to give Black Angel a try.
Yeah.
Cool.
Intergalactic humanity run by robots and fighting space pirates and programming.
Yeah, I remember how much hype there was for that at Gen Con.
Yes.
And the tables where you could play it were like always packed.
Yes. Never got to try a demo of that.
Yeah.
Maybe Geekway will have a copy.
Maybe. Right on. Well, I think that brings us to the big threes. So these are our top 3 games of 2019. I'll start with the number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to preface this entire list by when I sat down to do this list, I jumped on BGG. I pulled up Advanced Search 2019 games, and I started going through, and it was like, wow, I think I've played like 6 games from 2019.
What game where you're like, there's a chance of this game being on my top 5 solely because it came out in 2019?
I said that about War of the Worlds.
That's right. Yes.
I was like, War of the Worlds might be on my top 3 just because it came out in 2019. But do you guys have honorable mentions for your top 3s?
I mean,
no,
only because go ahead.
Because best reprint helped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we do have a best reprint.
Yeah, and I technically said it Men at Work in term for the
okay.
So
I will just throw out then my honorable mentions real quick, and then I'll do my number 3 because I forgot I put them at the bottom, so I'd missed them until I scrolled one more step. So my honorable mentions: Men at Work, Letter Jam, Wavelength. I've had a lot of fun with all 3 of those games, but I don't think any of them are going to be they're not
top 3
material
gotcha.
for me. they're not games like I'm fine playing any of them. I'm not like scrambling to own them. I'm happy to play them at game night and stuff, but I don't. The closest would be Letter Jam because my family is a bunch of people who love fucking word games, so I think it could work well in that scenario. But otherwise, meh.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good one to choose out of those three because I know for me at least, Wavelength feels like Codenames and some of the other ones.
It's gonna wear out.
It's gonna wear out. And then what was the other one you said?
Men at Work.
Men at Work.
And Dex games for me just aren't ever going to be my tops
because you're just garbage at them.
I am really bad. Although I'm better at the balancing Dex games.
That's true.
So,
but yeah, Letter Jam was a word game I actually liked, which is few and far between. So
yes. So going into my top 3 though, like I said, this one it's tricky because it's really one. Like my number 1 is the only one I think would make. If I'd played most of the games I wanted to this year of that, like all those missed opportunities, I think there's a good chance that all 5 of those would jump to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s.
Right.
So anyway, number 3, Tapestry. I had a lot of fun with Tapestry.
Yeah, it's true. You did.
Until I burned out on it. I played it like 5 or 6 times.
If only you hadn't played those last couple games.
Yeah.
If you had just left it, then
it would have been a lot higher because it would have been that whole thing that we talked about in the review where it's like it's got all these problems. On paper, I shouldn't like it, but it's fun, blah, 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 blah.
Well, those last 2 ones were 2-player, right?
2-player with Megan.
Do you think maybe, like...
I think that is part of it. I will never try to play that game 2-player.
Oh, no, I know.
Again.
We played it once as 2-player, and I was like, this seems like it would be a lot better.
Well, and even the Automa thing is just fucking stupid.
You played the or the Shadow Empire.
He did both of them.
You did?
I did both of them.
Oh, you did Automa.
Yeah.
At one point.
And it was also fucking stupid.
Okay.
So, no. Never again 2 players. Yeah, I don't like it. Like it's really, it's here because like it was like 1 made the list.
Yeah.
2 was like, I mean, I guess. And then this one was like, I've got to find a 3rd.
Yeah.
And of the things I've played in 2019, this is the one I had the most fun with. But
yeah, you gotta play more games, man.
I gotta play more like.
Yeah,
modern game, like new games apparently. But
you got to play more games that you're actually interested in.
Yeah, Nick will be excited to hear that apparently, like, I'm fucking struggling to play or enjoy new games. I'm having too much fun with old games because that's a total Nick move. So that's my number 3, and we're just gonna move on. So Jeff, what about you? What is your number 3?
My number 3 is Cartographers. I saw this at Gen Con and was enthralled. The flip and fill of Second Chance had happened around that same time. And this seemed to just be kind of a evolution of flip and fill mechanics, where you're using these polyominoes to fill in a map, but in specific types and with specific like score categories around it. I've always enjoyed all games that I've played of it. It helps that I'm pretty okay at it as well. And it's been a good game night game because it's easy enough to teach new people and it can play, quite a few people. The usual 1 to 999 or until you run out of sheets level of flip and fill.
I really like that one too. That probably would have been 5 on my list. I really like it with the crayon or the colored pencils.
Yes.
I mean, it could be crayons too. It's fine. But I really liked adding that, I think.
Yeah.
I saw they were selling the colored pencil kits at PAX Unplugged for like $5 each. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I think I paid $2
for
a pack of 12 that you pulled 4 or 5 from.
Yes.
I almost put Cartographers on here, but I've only played it the one time, and I really enjoyed it. I want to play it more, but I wanted to go with something that had at least stood up to
a multiple plays,
sort of ish.
No, I get it.
Fucking Tapestry shouldn't be there.
Tapestry's fun.
Yeah.
Stablehog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Quirky Circuits. This was, it's a lot of fun. We played it if it wasn't for the last couple months, if it wasn't for BGG Con, I don't know if I would have ended up getting a chance to play it. That's what me and Paul playing it convinced him to get it, and then we played it a lot more since then. But I've liked programming games, and I really like how it's everybody is programming a single machine. And it has that mind style thing of you can't talk when you're actually putting down cards.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of like trying to figure out what everyone's doing. And a lot of like, once you realize someone was like, oh no, I thought we were going this way, but we went that way. Oh, I'm sending us in a completely different direction. And you're just bouncing back and forth between things. And it's a lot of like hilarious shit.
Or when you just somehow you have trouble just understanding what direction the cards are actually going, and you think it's going the one way, and then they flip your card, and you're like, oh wait, no, I want the exact opposite direction.
Yep.
And then I played everything else as if I was going the right direction. And oh yeah, by the way, I got those all backwards too, so it doesn't really matter, and we're just super fucked.
Yeah.
I don't know who that would have happened to.
I don't know.
I don't know who would have done that.
That seems like that's a good hypothetical that you're coming up with.
Exactly.
But I like how the difference, like not only are there different scenarios, but there's different robots, and then there's different scenarios for each robot, which I really like, as they very much amp up the difficulty.
And they feel different.
Yes, they do. Like the bee trying to get honey, or not trying to get honey, is like trying to deliver seeds or something, feels different than the cat that's on the Roomba. Feels a lot different than the sushi robot. So yeah.
Who is also feeding cats.
Yes.
Yeah. This is another one, much like Cartographers. I thought about it, but I've only really played it the one time. I mean, we played like 3 games of it, but it was all just at once in like one session, and I couldn't quite. I'm not sure I'll like it holding up long term.
Right.
Like after I've played each scenario, I might be like, okay, I've kind of seen what they do, and that's it. But Quirky Circuits is good. I had fun with it.
My only problem with it is just like once you get like what the right move should be, like when you threw a new person in there, you really have to just be like, they don't understand what the right move is, so you're gonna have to like try and work with them a little bit and try and figure out what to do.
Yeah.
So,
cool. So,
have you ever written down a word you haven't written down in a long time and been like, is this right? And I had to write down Quirky Circuits, and I was like, circuits is a weird word.
Yes, circuits.
Yeah,
it's easy. I don't know. I guess in my industry, I work with circuits a lot more than you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of circuits in brewing.
No. There isn't Factorio, though.
Yeah. No, there is definitely there's definitely been sometimes when you write words and you're just like, that looks wrong. I got to Google that to make sure that
and it ends up being right. And you're like,
it still looks wrong. Yeah.
Everything's fucked.
Yeah.
The English language is bullshit.
Yep.
Anyway, on to the number 2s. I will continue the trend of going first just because my number 2 is also still kind of bullshit. As is my 2019 apparently for board gaming. So I was looking through the list again, and I went deep on BGG, looking at all of the 2019 games, just trying to find some that I felt comfortable, because there were some where I was like, oh yeah, I had fun with that. But it's like, can I justify putting this on this list in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
And there came a moment where I went, wait, that game was 2019? And yeah, sure. So fuck it. Dinogenics is my number 2. It feels like we reviewed that game 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But so it was like February?
But I think we
technically we reviewed it. I feel like we reviewed
got a production copy.
Yeah.
We got one of the pre-production copies.
Yeah.
Because they were here in Denver and they brought it to game night and did a lot of testing at game night. So we got a very, very early copy before the Kickstarter launched. Then they did the full Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And then it's been, I guess, shipping.
It released in 2019, so that's where you're fine with it. Yeah.
I mean, it's and the only reason I'm fine with this is because I was so desperate for a game that I could actually say positive things about on my list, and feel like I could back it up. There were issues with Dinogenics, but I really liked the kind of the worker placement. It felt like, Dinosaur Agricola in some ways. It wasn't quite as punishing as Agricola, but it gave me a similar vibe.
And I know you liked
Dinosaur Parks.
I know you liked it more than Dinosaur Island.
Yeah, there were a handful of things that Dinosaur Island I think did better, but overall I liked Dinogenics more as a game.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm fine putting it at number 2, because again, I didn't hardly play any 2019 games, and so I was just scraping the barrel for things I could put as my top games for 2019. So Dinogenics, my number 2. Jeff, what about you? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Taverns of Tiefenthal. Kind of came in at the end of the year there, but greatly enjoyed all plays that I have played of it. it's got the cool modular board. It's got the cool sort of deck building, the dice drafting, and then the various ways you can mitigate all of those fun drafting and dice drafting portions by adjusting dice and various ways to win the game as well.
Yeah, Tavern should probably actually replace Tapestry at this point. I've played it enough. I feel comfortable saying that. Now, after we've done the threes.
Okay, all right.
Because the more I think about the fact, I just actually said Tapestry on my top 3, and that's fucking horseshit.
Yeah.
So no, replacing
it
with Tavern.
Okay, great.
Zach, what's your number 2?
Do you want to say something so you could edit it in so you never said Tapestry? Or
No,
are you okay?
no, I'll live with it.
Okay.
I also don't have time to edit it
That's
if
very
it's
true.
coming out, before I go to Japan.
Yeah.
So.
My number 2. So my number 1 and number 2, very much like maybe next week if you ask me, they might switch. I don't know.
Okay.
But my number 2 is Marvel Champions, the card game.
Okay.
Also another late one, but it was definitely one that I was happy that we ended up delaying this a month because it gave me time to play this.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed Netrunner as an LCG, and I liked keeping up with that, but then eventually like shit got too much and I couldn't keep up with it. I enjoyed Arkham, but it, like Jeff was saying, it was just hard to keep up with, and it just also it's a very punishing game. This one is not nearly as punishing, but I'm okay with that especially because it fits the theme better of like super, like when you're doing Lovecraftian shit, no duh, people are gonna die, and like there's a good chance you're gonna lose every time, right? And you're always fighting against it. This one, you always feel like you're barely skinning of your teeth winning, but you'll win pretty consistently. Now you can increase the difficulty a lot to make that harder, like with the experts and switching up different of the side schemes or trying your different characters and stuff like that. But it's been very enjoyable for me so far at 2 players. 3 players, it starts to be like, it's a little much, and I haven't played 4 players. I think I'm good not trying 4 players.
Yeah.
And I think as more card packs come out and more heroes come out, more villains come out, and especially like whenever the campaign style expansions come out, this one might overtake my number 1. But as of right now, like I feel like this one, this is a lot of fun, but it's early in its LCG life cycle.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah, I only played it the once. Kind of like some of those other ones. If I'd played it as much as you guys had, maybe I'd feel more comfortable saying something like that. But
what, you didn't play it before and after a movie, Adrian?
No, in fact, I did not, sir. In fact, that actually probably counted against it because I was sitting here going like, where the fuck are my co-hosts for this fucking stream we're supposed to do? Oh, they're playing 3-player Marvel.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, that brings us over to the number 1s. So, Jeff, what is your number 1?
My number 1 is Marvel Champions.
There it is.
For all the same reasons that Zach said. I'm as a big Marvel fan of the comic books, seeing all of the comic homages and all of the real deep cuts that they do on everything is great. The art is authentic to all of the comic books. There's not really much Marvel cinematic universe in this at all. They're very much like, this is a comic book card game, and that's awesome.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's partly because like that's probably a different license than the game.
Yeah, I'd be far less interested in it if it was like MCU, because then they just have to use pictures from the fucking movies.
Yes,
and I've seen Decipher's Star Wars card game from back in the day. Was like, let's get in as tight as we can to this alien in the back. He's a card now, and stuff like that they had to do. It's nice having where they have this creative freedom that they can pull from nearly a century of Marvel comics. And I can't wait to see what they come up with, because Zach was telling me about a rule where like you can't play Captain America and Captain America, but if it's like different Captain Americas,
you can't play like Steve Rogers and Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
But
you can play like the Falcon Captain America that I'm sure will inevitably happen, or the Bucky Captain America that will inevitably happen.
Okay.
Or if they pull like Ms. Marvel, where they do the old Ms. Marvel and then there's the new Ms. Marvel. And so it's going to be cool seeing like all these different versions. And then they just have like a billion trillion different characters that they can come up with. The next scenario pack is the Wrecking Crew.
I'm going to assume that you do.
Yes. The dude, they're like, imagine supervillains, but each one is like construction yard heavy equipment. There's a guy that throws around a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
There's like a bulldozer guy.
Nice.
It's stupid.
Yeah. And one nice thing with this LCG, like you're saying, just the sheer quantity of things they can pull from, like Game of Thrones. There's just the books, right?
Yeah.
And you can only get so much out of it, which I think they're starting to deal with now.
Yeah.
And same with Arkham Horror.
Lord of the Rings
yeah,
had a very similar
exactly.
problem.
So like technically, as long as this remained popular, they could just keep coming out with it. And then like you're saying, like, oh, we're gonna do another Captain America, but it'll be a different one, and like the differences between that and stuff like that. So
because each hero is only like 15 cards.
Yes.
And then you adjust that with basic cards, and then the different. I don't know what the colors are actually called as a group, but there's
the aspects.
The aspects, yes, of justice or aggression or whatever.
Yeah.
But I really look forward to like them advancing this game into what it could be down the line.
Right on. Zach, what's your number one?
Its insert sucks.
That's very yes, that's a good point. I do want to comment just on his insert. The insert for that is just it's the first one I've seen for their LCG that like looks like it comes with like it's big enough to hold things like with divider spaces.
It's not the Fantasy Flight trench.
No. It's actually like a plastic thing. And it's like, oh, you can put these things here to sort out your cards. They don't give you any dividers, though. It's the stupidest thing I have seen.
Yeah.
And like they don't sell any extra dividers for it. It's just like, hey, here's stuff to put things here, but, you know, we're not going to give you anything for that.
Do any of the cards, like, can you fit a card side?
No. I tried, and it was like, the
health dials.
The dials, do they fit?
Nope.
They don't. Nothing fits in that way to help you sort stuff. It's really annoying.
Yeah. So you like need an aftermarket insert, or I've seen like cardboard, like thick corrugated cardboard fits in there if you cut it, and it will fit in those dividers pretty well.
Well, there you go. Just homemade. You know, use an old beer case and home make yourself some.
No, you need like the thick, like corrugated cardboard.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's silly, but yeah.
Yes.
My number one is Taverns of Divinity.
Boyd called it.
Yeah, it's not surprising. I was trying to figure out when I was putting on my list. I'm like, do I fucking put this one or do I put Marvel? And I think part of it for me is just that this is now that same level as like Stockpile is for me. Is like I would always be willing to teach people this game, and I like how this is a great intro game for people, but it has enough modules, like you were saying, that you're like, once you know the game, you're like, all right, well, we're gonna make it a little bit more complicated and give you more decisions that you want to make, and it's fulfilling that way too. So it's a game that new people and veteran players can both enjoy, and if you know what you're doing, you're gonna have a better chance of winning. But new players can still have a chance at this game.
Yeah.
So unless they're just truly making awful decisions,
Right.
But there's nothing a game can do to stop you from doing that. So
True.
but yeah, no, it's I have a lot of fun with this one. So and it just feels so nice. You just
Everything fits real nice together.
Yeah.
Unless a dog chews up pieces.
That's true.
And they don't fit together very well
No,
anymore.
the piece still fits in there surprisingly well. Fucking jester.
Yeah.
Right on. So that brings it over to me. My number one and the only legitimate game on my entire fucking list. Watergate.
That's true.
Yeah. So another capstone game on one of my lists. I've played it a few times now. I've played it a couple times with Megan. I've played it with Ryan. I've taught it to a couple new players at game night, just like towards the end of the night. So it's a 2-player game where one of you is the Nixon administration trying to get away with crime, and the other side of you is, you know, the editor-in-chief trying to unearth the crimes and publish them and get public opinion to turn against Nixon. And it's just a really interesting kind of push-pull. The card play reminds me a lot of Twilight Struggle, where they're very multi-use cards, and you can kind of, some of the ones, like when you use them for their big thing, they're just out of the game. So it's like, when do I want to use this versus using it for points? The tug of war between evidence tokens and momentum token and things like that on the side of the board is really interesting. And then just the web of trying to link influence, where you're each trying to turn various informants to your side, and then Nixon's trying to put down like refuted pieces of evidence to block the editor from forming a chain from 2 of the sources back to Nixon, and just the whole way it all works. And it does it so quick and so easy. And much like way back when we reviewed Twilight Struggle, one of the things I loved about Twilight Struggle was just how much reading the cards and just putting yourself in that headspace of like, these were things that happened, and like I wasn't alive for all of the Nixon shit going down. And so like learning more about it, like just from reading the cards and like reading who was who and what was what. And it's like, oh yeah, like you play it a few times, you're like, holy shit, Nixon was a fucking crook. Like no matter what he said, he was a fucking crook.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun. It's a good 2-player game. It plays quick. I like it a lot. Watergate, my number 1 for the year.
Nice.
So
still haven't played that one.
Yeah.
Nor have I.
Right on. That wraps up our main lists. We do still have one more that I should have done beforehand, but I kind of forgot about it. And that is best reprint / new edition.
Yep.
So I guess I can start. Mine's nice and easy. 1824, because just for the same reason it was my honorable mention for components, the upgrade to like full bits for the game, like that alone is huge. But 1824, like they tweaked the rules a little bit and kind of updated it with some more modern 18XX style conventions. And then it's a really good game. It's another example of like how using the same general mechanics, not all of the 18XXs, but some of my favorite ones all managed to do very different things and feel very interesting. So 1824 is my number 1 best reprint. Jeff, what about you? What's your best reprint / remake?
Cabo. I don't remember where I saw Cabo the first time. I think it was some article on like a non-board gaming website that was just talking about games or something, and I was like, and then they had mentioned that this game was a lot like golf, which we had played significantly, and I was just like, oh, okay, maybe a game of your golf. And it was cheap, and I bought it, and it was probably my most played game of last year.
So many game nights. I was just like, what's Jeff? Oh, Jeff's playing Cabo.
Lots and lots of Cabo.
Goddamn Cabo.
Especially because you would be like, all right, we did a game of Cabo. Cabo? And I'd be like, yeah, I guess. And then
more Cabo? I mean, some issues kind of went through that Silver sort of fixed. Like, you start with 5 cards, and you have to do at least one exchange before you can end it, because if someone's in a big enough lead, they can just call Cabo and end the round, and someone will inevitably end the game, and no matter what happens, they were in a big enough lead that they're just going to win anyways. So it makes it slightly less competitive at the end if that sort of thing happens, which some of the future games have fixed. But
did you add that to Cabo?
No, I haven't. I haven't played it enough with people that have played it enough to
worry about that.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yet, but yeah, Cabo's a lot of fun.
Cool. Zach, what about you? What's your best reprint / new edition?
QE. It's a lot of fun, and I was glad to finally play it. I played with the wooden one first with Mike's, and I was like, this is fun. And then I saw the new edition thing, and I was like, oh, that looks so much better.
Yeah. Your continued love of financial crimes.
Exactly. Well, yeah. This one's not a crime, sir.
Probably should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, QE's really good. I like QE a lot. If it had been a new game, it might have made my top 3.
Yep.
Cool. We didn't have any listener feedback in the form of emails.
No.
However, there was a response to our Board Game Geek Guild number 2731. You got that about ready to go, Zach?
Yes, I do. Out of your hair. So this is from May. The good. I got to meet you guys and your supporting cast of generic white guys.
Yeah. We're a bunch of generic white guys.
A lot of Denver for you.
Yeah.
I guess
it used to be called Menver for a reason.
Yeah.
Unless you count MHGG, and it's not a bunch of white
guys.
That's
true.
I made a conscious effort to make sure that my second show that I started wasn't also just a bunch of straight white guys.
Which would be easy.
Yes. Oh, it would have been real simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now it's only half of that.
Yes, it is 50% straight white guys.
I played lots of Arkham Horror LCG and found a local monthly meetup so I can play even more. The D&D game I run grew from 2 to 5 players. I met someone who enjoys medium-heavy Euros, is fun to play with, lives near me, and has started hosting regular game nights.
Sounds like 2019 was pretty awesome, May.
Yep. Yes, it does.
Yeah. It could have been a lot worse. It wasn't the best gaming year for me, but personal life, 2019 was one of the best in several years.
I very much agreed with that too. And it's definitely one of those things of like doing a lot more shit in your personal life means you don't have as much time. I mean, the games were very much taken of like, I don't want to deal with life, so I want to play games.
Yeah. The nice thing is it's going to be a trickle effect too, because all of a sudden I got a new job and so I had money again. So I've been able to start getting games.
Yep.
It's like Kickstarters are going to start flowing back in.
Exactly.
Like, next year I won't have I might still have a 5-game list of things that were missed opportunities, but we'll see.
Yep.
Cool.
Games certainly aren't going to slow down.
No.
That's very true.
So, yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. I'm not going to blast through all of our contact stuff because Megan came home about 10 minutes ago, which was well over an hour late. So I'm sure she had a shitty day. So I'm just going to wrap this episode up. It's a Friday bonus episode. You can get our contact information on our Wednesday episodes. And that'll just be that. So, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm truly Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.